Hello. Hello. So I'm sick, under the weather. If you watched my Mars Day, you already know that. But I'm playing around with a new little freebie video workshop situation to help people understand how to use astrology here in the Patreon space with me, and also just out in the world when you hear and see people talking about astrology and you're like, what does that mean for me? Hopefully, this is going to help. This is my first run through. Um, and I'm sick, so I'm sure there's going to be things that I want to change. I'm sure there's going to be additional questions that y'all have, and that is why this is showing up here in the babe space first for y'all, so that we can figure it out together before I put it out to the masses. So thank you for that. If you are here, I appreciate you. And I also hope that this is helpful in your process. That is the goal. So, the video is about using astrology when you aren't an astrologer. Um, and you might want to go ahead and pull your chart up. If you have it and you want to play along, you might just want to go through it really quickly and see what I have to say, etc. However you want to work with this is great and fine. It's a rough draft, so we're just kind of playing with it. All right. So, basically, I wanted to make a video because one of the things that I hear the most often about astrology is, okay, all that information is great, but what does that mean for me? And so I wanted to take some time to give a little bit of an intro video to give you a better understanding of how to use astrology when you aren't an astrologer. And listen, astrology is so complex, so of course it's confusing. Don't get discouraged if astrology confuses you. That is very, very common. And that's why there are professional astrologers like myself and many others to help you learn, or that you can hire for more in-depth and personal support. Keep in mind that this video is from me. So if you want to learn more about my scope of astrology, there is a free workshop here that talks about my work and the astrology and some basics of astrology that you have access to. If you need me to drop that link, let me know. Otherwise, you can find it in the search bar if you haven't seen it here already on Patreon. Um, I also offer a $33 intro to your natal chart reading where you can get a pre-recorded personalized video reading from me that goes over the basic introduction of your specific natal chart. And you also get a PDF with your birth chart and some other resources, plus access to ask me questions as you unfold into your own personal astrology journey. All of that for 33 bucks. And then obviously, I have this membership sliding scale on Patreon that you're already here for. No contract, cancel anytime, over 400 exclusive posts that are here for you to dig into, starting at $3.33 a month. And as you know, you get access to me, weekly videos about the astro weather, plus tarot readings, additional astrology posts, workshops, other spirituality, healing, grief, etc. work. And I say it all the time, but I'll say it again. It's my absolute favorite place on the internet. So thank y'all for already being here, and sharing the space with me. Okay, so all of that out of the way, now for what we're actually here for. The first thing that you will need is your natal chart, also referred to as your birth chart. The birth chart is a snapshot of the cosmos at the exact moment of your birth, so get your birth information as exactly as possible, which you can usually find on your birth certificate. There are plenty of ways that you can get your natal chart for free online or via apps if you don't already have it. I definitely have recommendations of where to get it, so I will share those with you now if you want them. Astro.com allows you to save up to 100 charts by creating a free account, and I really recommend it as an online site. As far as apps, I recommend the Chani app, the Pattern app, and the Time Passages app. You can also email me or message me directly for a copy of your natal chart at marymoybiel@gmail.com, or you can just message me here on Patreon. Keep in mind that you are looking for the circle chart that is your birth chart or natal chart, not the tables and the graphs. The circle chart is what you need to get familiar with. The tables can help you understand the circle chart, but they are not your natal chart. So, once you have your chart, It's really about taking the time to understand the symbols of astrology. This part can be annoying, but being with it over time, you pick up more and more on what the symbols are. Again, this is all stuff that I have additional resources on if you would like them. And I'm working on an Astrology 101 course that will help with learning as well. This will all become available to you patrons first. So join me in that conversation. Let me know what would be helpful for you here, there, anywhere, and I will put out as much information to support you as possible. Okay, I'm glad that this isn't my final draft because my nose is running, my eyes are running. I'm a mess back here. Anyway, let's look at a chart together. And if you have your chart now, go ahead and have it up or have it with you as we go through this example. So I'm just going to pull up the chart of the moment. Um, and you should hopefully be able to see that chart here on your screen now. Okay, so this is just the chart for today. So someone being born right now would have this chart. We're just using it as an example, so it's not necessary to get too deep into the details. I am going to review the chart just a little, so if you aren't new to astrology, and then you may want to skip through this portion. If you are new to astrology, you may have more questions as we go through this, and I encourage you to ask away, and I'll help in whatever ways that I can. I'm going to start by outlining some of the basics of the chart. So you can see here, it's a circle and it holds the entire zodiac. You may have heard astrologers say that we all hold all 12 signs inside of us, regardless of if there are planets there. And that is true. The 12 zodiac signs make up a 360-degree circle split into 12 30-degree sections referred to as houses. So you might think of the natal chart like a pizza, and the houses are like the slices. Now, there are a lot of different schools of astrology and many different housing systems. So, if you have been here with me for a while, you know that I work with the whole house system and also the Campanus housing system, but I teach using whole house system. So, that is what we will see here and what I would recommend as a beginner to astrology. So, you have your circle chart, the 12 30-degree pie slices that indicate the zodiac signs and the houses of that specific chart. And you also have the planets or the main points. And when I talk about the main points, I'm talking about the ascendant, the midheaven, the part of fortune, the nodes, etc. So I'm going to go ahead and add the angles here to this chart so you can see it. So the AS, the IC, the DS, and the MC are those angles or points that I'm referring to. These horseshoes are the nodal axis that I'm referring to, and everything else is a planet. So again, if you get a PDF birth chart from me, it'll also come with tables that tell you what all of these symbols mean so that you can study it and understand it in your own time. Okay, so sorry, I lost my I lost where I was. Okay. Okay, so we talked about the circle chart, we talked about the 12 30-degree pie slices that indicate the zodiac houses, and also the planets and the main points. And then in the middle of the chart, you can see all of these lines between some of the planets, and those lines indicate aspects, which is where the math comes in between 2 points of the chart. So, for instance, in this chart, you could see Mars here in the first house in Cancer. So, Mars is the circle and the arrow, and Cancer is this symbol here on the cusp. And it has a red line coming across and a blue line going up to the ninth house. These are two aspects within the birth chart. So Mars is having specific conversations with across on the red line, the sun, and it's having another exact conversation up here to the ninth house of Pisces with Neptune. So these aspects indicate conversations that are happening between different parts of the chart. On Patreon, on here on Patreon, there are more resources to learn about the different aspects, the energies that they bring, and how to best work with them. So, those are the basic parts of the natal chart that I encourage anyone engaging with astrology to understand. The chart itself is a circle, a snapshot of the sky at the moment that you were born. The 12 zodiac signs across 12 houses or pie slices, the planets and important points in the chart, and the aspects or conversations between those planets and points. Once you understand those key parts of astrology, you'll be better prepared to use astrology and horoscopes in your daily life. I encourage you to sit with this chart, with your chart, pause this for as long as you'd like and get familiar with the different parts of your chart. Specifically, what parts of your chart have clusters of planets, or what planets are there, what house and sign it's in, etc. Do you have any planets in your first house or conjunct your ascendant? Where does your sun fall in your chart? Or your moon, or your Mercury, or your Venus, and so on. And then you can go deeper and deeper into what all of that means. Again, I have a lot of free resources in Patreon here. And I can also share additional free resources with you. You just got to ask and let me know what would be helpful for you. Sorry, I gotta fix a typo. Okay. Again, rough draft. Thanks for being here. Yee. Okay. Not, oh, no, not. All right, moving on to the next section. Now that you are semi-familiar with the natal chart and the main parts of the chart, let's talk a little bit about how to use that when listening to or reading posts from astrologers. We recently had a Cancer full moon. So, first, you'd want to have an idea of what a full moon is, how to work with it, what the energy is, etc. However, hopefully, that's what the post is about that you're referencing. So, maybe they were discussing how this Cancer full moon may be specifically emotional and about cultivating safety and nourishment in that area of your life. So then you would want to take that general information and you would want to find where that full moon is happening in your chart. So you would look to the Cancer house of your chart, as that is where this moon is in the example. In the sample chart that I have pulled up, you can see that Cancer is in the first house, right? It's this blue, it looks like 69 turned on its side. So that's the symbol for the zodiac sign of Cancer. And in this chart, again, this example birth chart, it falls in the first house. So now that we know what house it falls in, maybe you are already familiar with the houses and the themes that fall within each house, and maybe you aren't. So there are a lot of housing theme charts that I have available and that you can find online. And I'm going to pull one up here now for us to take a look at. If you have your chart, go ahead and find Cancer, the Cancer house of your chart. Remember that you will be looking for that 69 on its side glyph, which is the symbol for the zodiac sign of Cancer. Once you know the house that Cancer falls in your chart, let's take a look at the themes corresponding to that chart. Keep in mind that if you aren't using whole house system here, then the sign of Cancer may fall across two houses, at which point you would look for 23 degrees of Cancer where the full moon is exact. All right, so I would hopefully have this chart quicker, but I hadn't pulled it up yet. So thanks for pausing with me as I get to some chart. I don't know which one I'm going to use, whatever one I come up to first. Okay, perfect, perfect. So now let's pull up one of the house charts. And as always, you can find a lot more of these in a pin post on Patreon. So if you're interested and you want to know more, then you can do that there. Okay, so here is the housing chart. So now that we have the themes chart pulled up for you to find what area of your life is being reflected with this full moon, or the full moon that was exact a couple days ago. In this example, Cancer is the sign ruling the first house, which is the house that holds the physical body, response to outside stimuli, self-reference to life, early environment, how others see us, our self-awareness, beginnings, etc., right? Based on this housing theme chart. So maybe if this were my chart, this full moon may be a moment of completion and celebration and a start to release around some kind of like physical experience that I've been having, right? Um, if Cancer is your fourth house, then maybe you just moved back into your childhood home in order to take care of your mother. Or maybe this full moon falls in your third house and you just got diagnosed with ADHD and you got approved for the proper support to go back to school, et cetera, et cetera. So now back to your chart. The next thing to look at would be what planets are in that area of the chart being illuminated by this full moon. You can also look, so this is going to give more context. And if we go back to the example birth chart, then this full moon is falling in the first house where Cancer is, and Mars is there, right? So that's going to give additional context to what's happening for me in my experience with this full moon, right? You could also look at any planets in your chart that are around 23 degrees of any sign, as they will be aspecting this full moon. You can also look to the ruling planet of the zodiac sign, which in this case is the moon with Cancer, and the house that is being referenced or that area that holds that energy or rules over that energy in your chart. But in order to start layering on data in this way, you'll want to become more familiar with the planetary archetypes and how they show up in your life. But for now, let's just review how to use this information, and then you can layer on more later. Just stick with the signs and the house themes for now. When you hear an astrologer or read a blog post about astrology, find that area of your chart that is being referenced. For example, Pluto is freshly into Aquarius. And so for the next 20 years, it will be transforming your Aquarius house. So, what house is that for you? And what are the themes of that area in your life? Right? So, let me go ahead and pull back up the house themes for you to take a look at your Aquarius house. We will be having an Aquarius new moon soon in that same area of the chart, and this may help you outline what that longer Pluto story may be. We also recently had a nodal shift into Pisces and Virgo. What are those houses and the themes of those houses in your chart? And how might the eclipses and nodal cycle recalibrate that area of your life or those areas of your life for the next 18 months? Mars has been retrograding through Leo and Cancer since last fall, and it will be doing so until early spring. What are those areas and themes in your life, the houses and their themes? You can use this astrology, you can use this for any astrology that you see out in the world. Just find the house that holds the zodiac sign in your chart and then look to the themes of that chart house. This is the most basic way for you to begin to engage with astrology on a personal level, and then you can grow your knowledge and understanding from there. Again, there are so many resources available online, and I'm honored to help you in any way that I can, so just reach out anytime. You may want to start by focusing just on the full and new moons. We have a new moon and a full moon each month, and they go in the order of the zodiac. Maybe you just want to focus on Venus. Venus is currently in Pisces. So it's working on balance and harmony, etc., in that area of the chart. Is this helping? Is it making sense? I don't know. You let me know and we'll go from there. Thanks so much, and we'll talk soon.